Welcome back to the channel, all you beautiful people. It is the Begode Master Molicel again. This wheel has been a blast to ride, to say the least. I have been putting a lot more miles on it than I have the Hero, and I know I haven't posted a whole lot of stuff on the Hero. I have been seeing posts lately about more and more people asking about the Hero. I know the price has come down on the Hero. I think it's $3,200. I think Free Motion might have it for $31.99 or something now. You know, I believe that the initial quote-unquote release expected price kind of killed people's drive and want for the wheel. They saw RS19 specs with suspension and a gigantic price tag. I personally haven't rode an EXN. I have the RSTs, as many of you know, and the Hero way outperforms an RST. I mean, it's significantly more powerful. The power band's a lot lower. In my opinion, it's a lot more comfortable to ride. I really enjoy the wheel. I mean, for $3,200, if you're unsure about the Master, you don't want a first batch Master, same thing goes with the S22, I would still highly recommend the Hero. I plan on keeping mine. I probably won't be selling it, just like I plan on keeping both of my S18s. You know, all around, the Master is a very well performing wheel as far as the power goes, the power band, how smooth it is. It's an extremely quiet wheel. I mean, if you threw a street tire on this thing, people wouldn't hear you coming up on them even at 20, 25 miles an hour. It is that quiet. When it's stationary, it doesn't have that high-pitched frequency noise that other wheels emit. I mean, it's sitting there quiet like it's in standby mode. It's a good wheel. It's comfortable. The battery packs do kind of dig into you. If you have pads like mine and you raise them high enough, it kind of negates that. But at the same time, just the way it's designed, they'll get you. Most of you guys out there at the Masters probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't have one, if you look at the pictures, there's kind of a space between the front and the back battery pack where if you stand evenly on the pedal, that's where your leg's going to be. Wasn't a big fan of it at first. Definitely caused some bruising, but you do get used to it. When I was sitting and riding on this thing the first few times, that foam is very slick. I found myself constantly trying to, stay on the wheel, it felt like, when I was zip-zapping around, making harder turns or quick maneuvers. And I actually, last test on the range, I sat probably 8 miles of that, and it was a very comfortable ride. The way that this wheel and the Hero are both made, though, it's, even though your butt is on the back of it, it kind of wants to roll backwards. And I've noticed my Hero, even when you turn it on because of the weight distribution, it also wants to do that with nobody on it. So you really have to lean your weight over the center of gravity on the wheel or even further to get this wheel to go while sitting and riding. My feet are all the way at the front of the pedals on it, and I feel like I'm, leaning over the wheel pretty far to get it going. I was riding about 20, 25 at times, and you get used to it, but it's definitely odd when you compare it to sitting riding on an RS or an S18 or some of the other wheels that aren't considered as large as these wheels. I do have to say that the screen still disappoints me that you don't get a voltage readout. I'm hoping that Kingsung or Begode on future wheels or even future iterations of these wheels will put a freaking voltage readout on these screens. Only time I ever look at the screen is when I grab the wheel and turn it on. I'll usually look at the range of how far I've gone on it so far, which it is in kilometers. And then I look at the bars on the battery, which I've found are kind of redundant, because you could go, you know, X amount of miles and it'll still have all bars, and then once you get to half, they start dropping like a fly. Kind of like a gas tank in a car. But the pedal height on this wheel, I've had a few people ride the wheel, and that's the first thing they mention, is just how high the pedals are. And a few people have also had the V11, currently own it or have ridden it, and they like the Master a lot more because it's smoother and it's a little stiffer when you step on it, so it doesn't kind of have that pogo effect like the V11 does. I had people go off curbs and stuff with it. This is still running the stock air suspension with the rebound that's kind of iffy and poings, if you will. It tops out and you could hear that metal clank. But, you know, everybody that I had ride it, testing-wise, liked the wheel. They liked how smooth and quiet it was. I really enjoy riding this. Comparing it to the Hero, you know, it's the wheels, it's gaining on me, you know, it's slowly getting its love in, but I would still prefer taking out the Hero. The range is better on the Hero. The power isn't quite there in comparison, but just for my personal preference, the Hero wins over this wheel. I think that the whole fact of, you know, going quote-unquote back to basics here on the Master was a good idea. You know, it helps keep the price down without having the expensive body panels, and you don't have all of that extra nonsense on the wheel. It's that, you know, it's almost like how 3D printers are nowadays, where you don't have all of this random miscellaneous crap on the wheel, expensive panels to replace, you know, things that add cost to it that you don't necessarily need. The kickstand's super basic. It's cool that they did all the foam paneling. I did rip my top one day one just trying to adjust the headlight, which was very frustrating because it wasn't even 3M'd on. It was like I gently lifted it, and that corner that's a 90, it just tore, and I was like, dang, well, the foam's a cool idea, but, you know, this foam's a little weak. And I talked to Begode about it and, you know, tried to see if I could get replacements depending on, you know, how much it's going to get tore up and how quick. And they basically told me the foam panels are extremely expensive or expensive to ship, so offering replacements is not available, which was a little frustrating. And then they told me to talk to the dealer, which I don't currently know any dealer that has replacement foams. And then I've also seen the pictures where they have blue and red, and I think the red's really cool. And I asked Millie, I was like, hey, I'll order the reds from you because I'd like to swap them out. I think it'd make the wheel look really cool, especially with the red suspension. And she said they weren't available. And again, to talk to the dealer. So cool, you know, idea, but at the same time, if they're just as expensive, if not more, than body panels, then why bother? You know, like my Hero, it's got body panels, and all I did was just took that baby foam everybody else uses and did a couple layers on the top, and now it's a very comfortable ride. A lot more comfortable seating than the Master, but, you know, it just brings me back to the point of, it seems like they were trying to save money in areas to save money for the end user, but the price of the wheel doesn't really reflect that, and the foam is non-replaceable, nobody stocks it, and you can't get the cool color, so it kind of also is a little disappointing. Whereas like the S18, I bought spare panels right off the bat for that so I could change the color and have extras just in case they broke. Never ended up breaking any of them. On this guy, it's, you know, it's okay. The people have complained about the S22 seat being floppy in the rear of it, which I get, and I actually noticed after I broke the taillight on this one that plastic taillight supports the back like 2 inches of the seat, the little fairing part that comes up the back. So if you remove that plastic bit like I did and put on your own taillights, then that back part you sit on is actually super floppy and there's no support, which brought to me the concern of, you know, a heavier rider like myself. If you're on the back there because you got tall legs and you hit a bump or a curb or whatever, that weight bouncing on it will shatter that plastic, which is, again, unfortunate. But that plastic is dark tinted, so you can't really see the taillight anyways. So I'm hoping that some people come out with, you know, a little 3D printed part that you could screw on there to kind of create better support. I think Clark recently posted some pictures that he's actually making a new whole top panel. It looks like it's 2 pieces, but that'll be probably a huge improvement over the foam, because this foam actually isn't that soft, and having that lack of support in the back, or the potential of breaking your taillight plastic in the back when you have the support, is kind of frustrating. I've been seeing a lot of little aftermarket bumpers for the front headlight and the back to help protect those areas. So if there was a lower one in the back that went below the taillight to prevent any flex, then that might help a lot. But even, you know, the few people that I've had ride this wheel have sat on it. They've said the same thing, that it's not quite the position you would want it to be for seating riding. You feel like you're kind of having to force yourself to go forward, let alone go forward fast while sitting and riding on this wheel. Sure, others will chime in. The more people that have seated rided longer, probably the easier it is for them. But in comparison from this to a Hero, it's much easier on a Hero to just sit on that bad boy and go. But, you know, all in all, it's been a wonderful wheel. You know, I'm really glad that they started stepping up, all the companies, and providing better spike pedals with these wheels. I'm excited to test the S22 pedals. They are really large. I'm curious what the aftermarket industry is going to look like, since they're kind of specialty niche pedals on that wheel. But even these cast ones coming with these wheels are night and day difference over the flat crappy ones you get with like an RS or an EXN. And I actually had a set on my last wheel, and they're surprisingly comfortable on, you know, your feet, the fatigue. Just having that extra ability for foot placement makes a world of a difference. I really hope you guys enjoy the videos. As some of you know, this wheel has been sold, so you won't see it on my channel anymore. S22s will be here tomorrow and the next day. There will be range tests and videos of those coming soon. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, ring that bell, and have a beautiful day, you beautiful people.